Welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. How are you? How are you feeling? You looking good, I think. I'm looking good, so I'll make up for everybody who's not looking good. How's my sound? Let me get a mic check. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check. How about now? How about now? What's up, Big Truck Series in the building? Thank you, thank you, thank you. How are you guys? How's everybody? Good to see you. Mama was gone for like 2 days, but you know Mama has another life outside of YouTube. Okay? So let's take care of a little business before we get into this Irv Gotti, Ashanti debauchery. Before we get into that mess, okay, let's take care of a little business. You guys already know I am on the block with Jen on all social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. My Instagram be popping. So if you haven't followed me on the block with Jen on Instagram, follow me there. But I'm everywhere on the block with Jen. And also, if you want to Gmail me, I am on the block with Jen at Gmail. So you can Gmail me, okay, at on the block with Jen. If you have something to tell me, you don't want everybody to know, everybody in the chat, it's personal, it's private, hit me there. If you want to collab with me, also hit me there, but you guys know it has to make sense for both you and me. The collab has to be beneficial, or you have to be hella interesting if you ain't got no subscribers. Interesting enough for me to say, hey, let's collab. Let's talk about this, okay? I appreciate you all for being here tonight. As you know, I'm always going to make it fun. It's about time I talk about this topic. I thought it was going away, but it is seen to grow some big hairy legs, and it is running. I'm specifically talking about the Irv Gotti thing, right? On Drink Champs. Before that, I want to do a quick recap on what's up, Morena Reyes. Always nice to see my ladies come in the room. I want to do a recap. As you guys know, on my last stream, the suicide stream, it was really interesting. Like, YouTube reached out to me and they were like, hey, are you okay? Is everything okay? You know, the YouTube community cares about how you're feeling. I guess they picked up the words suicide in my speech and also in the caption. And I think they automatically, maybe it's automated when a streamer says that word or captions that word. I guess it's an automatic, I don't know, AI, response to that. And they just, check on you and make sure that you're okay. So I guess YouTube cares about people that are suicidal. And I guess if you say that word or caption that word, they will be sending you an email as well. I thought that was interesting, but it was regarding my last stream about people hiding their mental illness with social media. So I guess that's why they reached out. Also, I'd like to do another recap. As you guys know, I went ham, okay, on a rant regarding John Leguizamo, talking about James Franco being cast as Fidel Castro and how Latins are just, like, in my opinion, lame when they complain about not getting roles in Hollywood and not getting cast the way they want to get cast. And I was just saying that they need fucking self-determinism, same as Tyler Perry, had, and when he did his plays and his films and his movies and he wrote his own shit and did his own shit, and now he has Tyler Perry Studios. I was just saying that Latins, instead of fucking complaining, that's what they have to do, especially Latins that are established in the business 20 some odd years, who are worth a lot of money and have a lot of influence. So the recap on that is John Leguizamo posted on his Instagram that supposedly he started a company in 2012, and that company is going to collab with another company called Me Too, which is a Latin company, and allegedly, supposedly, they're supposed to be bringing forth Latin content. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think there had to be a huge announcement. I think if he started his company in 2012, we should have had content already. And he shouldn't have been complaining in 2022 about James Franco getting cast as Fidel Castro, because he has his own projects to worry about. So we'll see what happens in the future. I don't know. We shall see how much Latin content he puts forth that is not under the umbrella of, quote unquote, the white Hollywood that's not hiring him or other Latins to play, prominent roles in America. So we'll see what happens with that. We shall see. Okay. As you guys know, I'm very cynical. I'm all about, if you want something, you get it done. Nobody owes you a goddamn thing. So hopefully his announcement is legit, and hopefully he creates content and he's able to hire Latins and other people, you know what I mean, follow his lead and go from there, because there are a lot of Latins in Hollywood that can make a difference, you know what I mean, that can make an impact, versus going online and complaining about, you know, what white Hollywood isn't doing for them, right? You know, I'm very, very cynical. Get off your ass and do it yourself. I've always been that way. That's how I feel. Okay, guys. So that was a little recap on that. I just wanted to update you because John Leguizamo did post, "Oh, hey, yeah, I'm doing something for the Latin community," which is different than him complaining about what's not happening for the Latin community. And I feel that way about all people of color. Like all people of color. Like, stop fucking whining and belly aching and complaining about what somebody's not giving you when you have the same fucking 24 hours as everybody else. All of us. I don't care if you're Black, Native, Asian, Latin, everybody has the same 24 hours as anybody else. Stop complaining and belly aching. Do it for your damn self. Otherwise, you're going to have, you know, generational, help me, love me, accept me. You're just setting up your children and your children's children to be whiners and complainers and belly achers and, you know, waiting for the white man to save them. Okay? That is my story, and I'm sticking to it. So good to see you guys. Tonight's going to be an open panel. What's up, Trevor Jackson TV? That premium Latin news. Somebody got to do it. I will have an open panel esta noche if you guys want to come up and discuss this, because I think it was very interesting. It is regarding Irv Gotti's appearance on Drink Champs. Okay, if you guys don't know, Drink Champs is a podcast, and it's literally motherfuckers sitting around drinking, okay, till their eyes bleed, and talking about their life, right, and their journey in the entertainment business. That's what Drink Champs is. Irv Gotti was recently on there with Ja Rule talking about the whole Murder Inc. Situation, you know, business, all of that, the Fed case that they had, the relationships, blah blah blah, yada yada. One of the stories that Irv Gotti told really stuck out and has gone viral, which was him talking about dating Ashanti, or fucking Ashanti, as he so eloquently put, and how he made her what she is. He made Ashanti, you know, and how she ran like a cockroach when the feds were knocking on Murder Inc.'s door, and how Ashanti's not loyal. And when he was addressing her, he was like, bitch this, bitch that, bitch, because that's how a lot of these idiots speak about women. They don't know how to speak about women any other way. And Ja Rule, at least, you know, interrupted him and was like, why you gotta call her a bitch? And he was like, no, I don't mean her a bitch like she's a bitch. That's just what I say women are. You know, he's that type of cat, whatever. So now that story has been growing some legs, some big old hairy legs, and the story is running because people are reacting to what he said, of course, which I'm sure was his goal. Because as you know, speaking of bitches, I would consider Irv Gotti very much a bitch. I think he's a man bitch. So I'm not surprised that this grew legs, right? A lot of people are starting reacting to it because they think that he was being very, very disrespectful to Ashanti. And I agree. I think he was being extremely disrespectful to Ashanti. I think a lot of the stuff he said, you know, the pillow talking, I thought was petty, especially coming from a man. But as we've all learned on social media, there are a lot of males, not a lot of men. There are a lot of males, not a lot of men in our society, okay? I think, you know, there's a minimal amount of men, but lots of males, and they run rampant in these spaces. They run rampant, and they can't, you know, describe or talk about a woman without calling her a bitch, or talking about, you know, her body. You already know. I don't have to go through that. We've been through that over and over again. Let's stick to Irv Gotti and Ashanti. The topic: can you be high value with low value traits? Irv Gotti just claimed that he made a $300 million deal recently. $300 million deal. So you would say in any society, $300 million is a lot of fucking money, right? That's high value. high value. What do I mean by high value? High value is a term that's been around forever, but for some reason, people think that Kevin Samuels coined the phrase. He did not. Kevin Samuels even has a video that he did himself saying, I did not coin the phrase. I don't know why they're connecting it to me. I've said it many times, but it is not my phrase. I did not coin it. So even Kevin Samuels says, look, they're connecting that to me, but I'm innocent. I didn't make this up, right? And he is correct. The term high value has been around forever. But for some reason, Kevin Samuels fans, minions, followers, and sons, specifically on YouTube, just it's high value is synonymous with Kevin Samuels for whatever reason. But even Kevin Samuels said that's not my word, whatever. So when you look at someone who's worth now $300 million, and Irv Gotti has always been pretty, I would think, rich. I wouldn't say wealthy, but I would say 300 million. I would say, you know what I mean? That's wealth, right? So you think high value. Oh shit, 300 million fucking dollars, right? Now, and I know what you guys are going to say, right? Because unfortunately, right, all over the world, especially specifically in our communities, someone could be a dirty ass rat bitch. I'm talking about gutter, derelict behavior, the lowest of the low, woman or man. But if that person has money, what's the first thing we hear people retort? They rich down. They paid down. They got more money than you, dog, right? That's the retort. We hear that over and over again. We could be talking about from Kim Kardashian to Trump to Irv Gotti. And the retort is, but she rich, dog. But she got more money than you, dog. But he paid, dog. But he got money, dog, right? And for some reason, you know, in life in general, but our community specifically, we think money absolves people from being derelicts. Just low down, dirty dogs, rats, right? The worst of the worst. It just absolves them, right? You add fame to that, and then you really got, you know what I mean, an angel on your hands. Meaning this person, if they have fame and money, there is no wrong that they can do, okay? They can sexually assault, they can molest, they can lie, cheat, steal, but they got money, dog. But they paid, dog. But she more famous than you, dog. But he more famous than you, dog. But they rich, dog, right? It doesn't matter what they do, long as they rich, dog, right? That happens a lot. So when you talk about someone like Irv Gotti, who has now, according to him, signed a $300 million deal, the first thing you're going to hear is that if you're talking to one of us, but he rich, dog, right? You're going to hear that a lot. But can you be a high value person with low value traits? I, for one, short answer, yes, you can. And Irv Gotti exhibited that on Drink Champs. Not only was he talking about Ashanti like she was a piece of shit, okay, diminished her to some studio rat, is what he called her, studio rat, where she wanted to be an artist. And he was like, well, just be a studio rat, hang on, and eventually somebody will pick you up or put you on, right? And that happens to a lot of people in the music industry. They just kind of hang around the right people, and then eventually somebody says like, hey, yeah, you know what I mean? Hey, yeah, you know, let's put you on. What do you think about this song? Or can you throw down these vocals real quick? And before you know it, you are your own artist. I take a lot of issue with someone saying, I made you, right? I, for one, tell actors all the time, when you're going into an audition, they ask me, are you nervous? This is why I'm not nervous. And here's a tip. And this can transcend into other genres and other businesses, right? Where you get nervous before a job interview, or you get nervous before an audition, right? You get nervous. You get like, oh my God, the person on that side of the table holds all the power. Don't do it. Don't do it. Erase that from your head, okay? For Irv Gotti to say, I made you. No, Ashanti and Irv Gotti, although he had the upper hand because he was the producer, it was a collab. It was a collab. If it wasn't a collab, he wouldn't have signed a contract with her that stated, I got the publishing and I get all the fucking money. That's how you know it was a fucking collab, because she benefited and he benefited. Now, because he was above her in the entertainment industry, he benefits more. And you just got to charge that to the game, right? You got to charge that to the game. My point is, do not be nervous when you walk into a situation. Look at it as a collab. I don't care if you're auditioning for a film. I don't care if you're trying to get a job. The person on the other side of the table is not a fucking god. They want you for a reason, and you want them for a reason. It is a fucking collab, right? So I take issue with anybody saying, oh, I made you. It was a fucking collab. Now, the only time those situations are fucking wrong is when the collab goes haywire, when the collab doesn't make sense, when you helped someone and they don't fucking reciprocate. Then it's an issue. Then I understand somebody being angry and saying, but I made you, I helped you, right? And you see that a lot happening in the entertainment industry, marriages, right? Take for like instance Kevin Hart with his first wife, right? I truly wholeheartedly believe that the woman was there shooting with him in the gym. She also does comedy. I truly believe that she helped him with a lot of his jokes. I truly believe that she helped him with his image. But you know what happens, right? You get rich, they leave your ass for a white girl or somebody more attractive. That's understandable too, right? More options, the more curious you become about other people, right? That's human nature. So I don't even care about that. My point is, I made you, I helped you, right? That situation got messed up because she helped him, and then Kevin Hart went on and did his thing and didn't pull her up, even though he was in a position to, knowing that she also did stand-up comedy. That's when those situations are fucked up, when they're uneven and they're not reciprocal, right? But if we look at Irv Gotti and Ashanti, that shit was reciprocal. Okay, I put you on, I own the label, I'm the producer. But if you're not who you are, if you don't sing, and if you don't write, and if you're not attractive, then you are disposable to me. I don't need you. But obviously, the collab made sense, asshole, because this woman put a lot of money in your pockets. A lot meaning millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? And vice versa, hopefully. I don't know what's in Ashanti's, bank account, but hopefully she came off with some millions too. So this man is on Drink Champs, diminishing her, treating her like she's some bitch on a stick, calling her all kinds of shit, disloyal, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes on to pillow talk about, oh, she wrote this song after we fucked, because this, that, and the third, right? So he's, Irv Gotti is a gutter rat. He's, for those of you who don't know, he's half Filipino, half Black. His real name isn't Gotti. He's not Italian. He did what a lot of rappers do, which is, try to emulate and follow Italians. For some reason, Italian gangsters are more important in the Black community than the Black gangsters were for some reason, you know what I mean? Or the Colombian, you got, Noriega, Capone, Gotti, for some reason, it's like the Italian gangsters really had an impact. Even though there were plenty of Black gangsters, for some reason, the Italian names, were adopted by a lot of rappers. So Irv Gotti, half Filipino, half Black, adopted the name Irv Gotti. I guess it sounded more tough, even though he himself was a studio rat. He was no gangster, right? Although he got into some trouble with the feds, right? He wasn't a street guy. So speaking of street guys, Fat Joe has even jumped into the ring with this and basically said what I think any man should be saying publicly about Irv Gotti: you're a sucker, right? Fat Joe jumped into the ring and said, you're a sucker for how you're talking about Ashanti. This relationship with you and her was 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Why are you still pillow talking? It's one thing to talk, right? Like the way Little Kim is still fucking hanging on the nuts of Biggie, even though Biggie never claimed her. Fine. But this dude is still pillow talking like he's bitter and disgruntled. And that happens a lot with men, right? Where it's like, look, it was cool in the beginning. Now I'm moving on. Your ass is getting in too much trouble. I loved you then. It was cool. But you benefited from knowing me more than I benefited from you. Obviously, because Ashanti can't even get her fucking publishing. She tried to re-record her records. Nobody cares, because we like the hit songs the way we heard them. So she can re-record all she wants. We still want to hear What's Love the original way. the original way, not with new instrumentation, not with new vocals. We like the old song, right? The old song that is still putting money in Irv Gotti's pockets. So their union, he benefited more. He's still benefiting. His children's benefiting. His children's children will benefit. I would think that's enough for you not to talk about this woman the way you talk about her. You fucking rabid dog. Okay. And there are a lot of bitter rabid dogs in our community. I'm talking about the male kind. Okay. I'm talking about the male. And I know you, I'm going to get another sign, some, not all. And then I'm going to get one that says women do it too. Right. Because you guys get tickled in your balls when I talk about men. And my thing is, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Put it in a bubble and blow it away if I'm not talking about you, okay? I'm talking about specifically the should I see the bitter, rabid dogs that I've witnessed in the past 10 years on social media, always talking negatively about women and women leaving, women turning their back and blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? 75% of the divorce rate is due to women filing for divorce, blah, blah, blah. You know, because men think that you're supposed to stay with them no matter the fuck what, right? When they become unattractive, when they become tired, when they become fucking boring in the sack, they think you're supposed to stay with them anyway. When they become, you know, and they fall into a lower tax bracket and start losing money and sitting around with their hand in their drawers watching the game and playing PlayStation, men think you're supposed to sit with them anyway, right? And stay with them, marry them. No, fuck off. 75% of the women in society say, fuck you, I'm out, I want a new husband. Good for them. Yay, right? So, you know, going back to this clown, anybody who watches Irv Gotti and takes that motherfucker seriously as a man, right? Obviously, he's doing good business. He just made a $300 million deal. But any man would look at him and be like, oh, you one of them tacky rich motherfuckers. It's just like Trump, right? It's just like Trump. Even in Trump's circle, right? He is considered the tacky one. He's the one that the other rich dudes see walking in and they're like, here come this motherfucker. What's up, Donald? He's that guy, right? Irv Gotti is the same fucking guy. Well, he be around other wealthy men and he walks in with his shit. And those dudes would be like, here come this motherfucker. We got to talk to him for real. Okay. Oh, what's up, Irv? He's that guy. So can you be high value in tax bracket and low value traits? Absolutely. And I think Irv Gotti is the poster child for that. Why would you, a grown ass man, okay? Let's get into loyalty. His issue with Ashanti was loyalty. When the feds came a knocking, she ran like a cockroach, right? Good for her. Salute. Get the fuck up out of there, right? Get out of there. Now, Ashanti clapped back and said, he's lying because I left such and such tour to go to court with them, I think 2-3 times. So she showed up. Maybe she was like, well, maybe when she got to court, she was like, I ain't committing any of these crimes. I'm fucking out. And, you know, I spoke about this before. That ride or die shit that y'all do, and this is for men and women. Hold on, I lost you guys for a minute. That ride or die shit y'all do, like, a lot of us were raised to think that it is noble and it shows good character, right? When you stick with somebody who's a fuck up, it has been ingrained in our heads. Oh, they left you when you... No one should sign up for misery. No one should rock with misery. Now, if you're the type of person, I don't care what my man go through, I'm a ride with him, I'm a ride with him, I'm a ride or die. Good luck to you, sis. Same thing with men. No matter what she do, I'm here. I love my baby moms. Good for you. Great. I am saying to the other side of you, the majority of people do not sign up for some ride or die shit because you think it's the noble thing to do when it's fucking with your life. If it's fucking with your livelihood, if it's fucking with your money, let it go. Get out. Comprende? Get out, leave. I am not the biggest fan of Jennifer Lopez, but when she bounced on Diddy, after that shine shit in the club, salute to you. Get out. Get out. Because now the relationship is no longer reciprocal. Now you're fucking with my life, right? Diddy being with J-Lo and vice versa was benefiting both of them, right? Because they were both public figures, and two public figures together make more headlines. When that dude took it to the streets and started acting like a two-bit thug in courts and prison and handcuffs, and Jennifer Lopez was handcuffed to a fucking bar in the precinct, it is time to say goodbye. Goodbye. Because now the relationship is no longer reciprocal. Same thing with Ashanti and Irv Gotti. It was reciprocal when she was dancing and singing a little jig for him, and he was making all that money, which he's still making off of her, right? But when the feds come a knocking, and that's not your husband, and you don't have any children with that man, bye. Bye. So she did the right thing. And here's what's funny. Here's what's most funny. This motherfucker, eyes bleeding, spitting while he talked, reminiscing, playing the violin about Ashanti, moved on with Nelly. Okay? And if you've seen what the fuck Irv Gotti looked like, anybody would move on with Nelly. Okay? Salute to Ashanti for that. I know that was a good smash, boy. Because Nelly is something to look at. So salute, sis. I know that was fun. So why this motherfucker Irv Gotti, eyes bleeding, bragging about how he got $300 million now, but still talking about Ashanti, okay? Riding her back like a lot of these streamers do, as a matter of fact. Had not been for the women y'all talk about, you motherfuckers would not have channels worth a damn. And I know you've seen a lot of these streamers who no longer talk about me and other women, and they are stuck on stupid, just like their subs. Did you notice that? For men to talk so much shit about women, Kevin Samuels included, for men to talk so much shit about women, had it not been for those women that you mentioned, that you ride the backs of, you wouldn't even have a fucking YouTube channel. All you manosphere motherfuckers, the Kevin Samuels and the minions that are taking over for him, you would not have a channel if you would not be riding the backs of women. None of you. You know why? Because just like in real life, before you established yourself a content creator, you had nothing to say. You had nothing of value to say. You had nothing to contribute to the planet. Nothing. But as a content creator, you're living long and strong, long as you can ride the backs of women. If you don't talk about women, you have zero to talk about. Zero. So the only thing you can talk about is your fucking bitterness and how much women ain't shit. And if I'm lying, prove me wrong. Talk about cars for a month and see who the fuck come to see you. Talk about football for a month. See who the fuck come to see you. Your subs, your likes, and your views will drop down to near zero. It'll be bouncing on a zero. So for motherfuckers like Irv Gotti and a lot of you watching to talk so much shit about women, had it not been for women, you wouldn't be putting money in your pocket right now. You wouldn't be putting money in your pocket right now. You know that. You know that. There's a guy that looks like a catfish, wears his button-up shirts up to here, has a bunch of his PlayStation toys on this beat-up old wood bureau. Looked like he got it from his grandmama's house. I don't know his fucking name. And even if I knew his fucking name, I wouldn't say his name. But he's light-skinned black, has a goatee. He looks like a fucking catfish. His head is even shaped like a catfish. Maybe some of you guys know who I'm talking about. He got a wood bureau in the back, chipped on the side. He got his PlayStation toys on there. This motherfucker, 95%. 90, if I'm lying, if you guys know who I'm talking about, I don't know his fucking name. 95% of his content is talking about Kendra G. Kendra G. 95% of his content is talking about Kendra G. If this motherfucker was not talking about Kendra G, would he be making money? No, because these motherfuckers have nothing to say. They were lames off of YouTube. At least in Irv Gotti's defense, he just made a $300 million deal. So he don't have to talk about Ashanti ever. But the fact that he is and how nasty he's being about it shows how low value he is in character traits. That goes to show. Can you imagine having $300 million and talking about some shit you hit 20 years ago? Can you imagine being worth $300 million and talking about some shit that you hit 300 years ago? Money does not change or cure degeneracy. It does not. And I think Irv Gotti is a perfect example of that. 300 million. Yeah, I just got $300 million. But you're talking about some shit, some chick who's not even thinking about you, who moved on from you to Nelly. And I love how after Drink Champs, Nelly brought Ashanti out on his last show. In your face, bitch. Now, some of you may say, but he rich though. Irv Gotti rich though. But it don't matter. Because rich and all, he's still talking about how he found out that Ashanti moved on with Nelly and how he was upset about it and mad. So apparently, him being rich, though, doesn't change that he's a bitter degenerate. It doesn't change. It just changes that he can have filet mignon more than he can have burger. That's all it changes. That's it. Right? That's it. So I love that Nelly brought Ashanti out because that's how you get these motherfuckers. Success is the best revenge. All that shit you talked about Ashanti, Andre, and he's claiming this is my story. That's why I'm talking about it. This is my story, and I can tell it. This is my story. No, you a pillow talking bitch. It's just not cool. It's not cool. And who would take a man seriously that talks like that about a woman he slept with 20 years ago? Who? You the tacky rich, just like Trump. You the tacky rich. But these guys, they have no pride, right? Plenty ego, no pride. No couth. No decency. They just have money. And I'm talking about real money. I'm not talking about motherfuckers that run around with one Rolex. I'm talking about money. Okay? I'm talking about real money. Not you guys that cam up sitting in your Versace robes and flashing your one Rolex. Not you guys. I'm not talking to you guys who never seen as much money as you've seen because you cam up and talk about women all fucking day. Not you guys. I'm talking about wealth. I'm talking about Rolex closes the door when you come in because they know you're going to spend a fucking mint. I'm talking about them. I'm not talking about you guys that finagled the Rolex off of some chick you were fucking one time. I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking about wealth. Right? Like the fucking joke. If Bill Gates woke up with Oprah money, he'd kill himself, right? Talk about wealth. Can you be that wealthy and still be a low value person? So I'm sorry. Fat Joe chimed in, called him a sucker. And what did Irv Gotti do? In man-child fashion, of course. Went on another show and was crying about, said, oh, I thought Fat Joe, well, he's not my friend. We were cool, but, well, I guess we not friends. Because a man saw something you were doing to a woman and just called you out on it and said you a sucker for that. Why are you talking about a woman you smashed 20 years ago? Fat Joe went on to say shit. I don't give a fuck about anybody else smashing 20 years ago. Matter of fact, I hope you die. I thought it was hilarious because that's how we should all feel about anything we smashed 20 years ago. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? But you care when you still hurt. You care, right? So now Irv Gotti is mad at Fat Joe because I guess Joe broke bro code. And we supposed to be on these bitches together. And we see that happen here a lot. Don't we, ladies and gentlemen? Don't we see that happen a lot in these spaces? If a man even looks like he's agreeing with a woman, if a man has the same sentiments as that woman has, you a simp, you simping, you simping. I mean, they take it back to the fucking schoolyard. You're supposed to be my friend. That's how these degenerates run around. These motherfuckers are in their 40s. I'm not talking about teenagers. I'm not talking about toddlers. I'm talking about men in their 40s and plus. We supposed to hate these bitches together. You're not going your own way with me. So that's basically what Irv Gotti is doing now to Fat Joe. He's saying maybe Fat Joe is jealous because he just signed a $300 million deal. Because Fat Joe broke bro code. Fat Joe was supposed to get on his show and be like, yeah, fuck that hoe Ashanti. She left when y'all was down, right? Like all the yes men in his life. But when you're dealing in a pool where a lot of men have power, the conversations are different. When you're just the one guy with the power and all the minions climbing up and want to yes you to death because they need to be in that entourage, otherwise they wouldn't get bitches or drinks or money, right? They're going to tell you whatever you want to hear all the time, like all the time. Like all the time. So since Fat Joe got his own shit going on in his own power, Irv Gotti is mad. You're not my friend. Again, it happens here as well. And it goes to show how little, how much these men want women, how much Irv Gotti wants Ashanti, right? But how much they don't respect and value women. That's why he's sitting up on Drink Champ. Bitch this, bitch that bitch, this bitch, that bitch, this bitch, bitch. Why would any woman want to be with a man like that? And then you start a fucking YouTube show and complain about women that don't want you. You're a piece of shit. I mean, at least admit that much. Give me that much. I feel like fucking Robert De Niro in Casino. Give me that much. You were there. You're a piece of shit. Give me that much. Give me that much. You know you're a piece of shit. At least give me that much. You could talk about women, but at least admit you're a piece of shit. Give me that much, right? So, it's very, very foul. I think I started a whole debate on my Facebook, but I think Ashanti should sue him. A lot of people, she don't got a case. She don't got a case just because he's talking about sleeping with her. She don't got a case. Fine. Everybody got a case till the judge says you don't. Everybody. Comprende? You're in America. I can file a lawsuit if you throw this paper at me and it hits my chin. Oh my God. Oh, my neck hurts now. Oh shit, my back, my neck, and my back. I can't. Oh, had it not been for you throwing that paper, judge, I'm suing. Now, whether I win or not is another matter, but I can sue. I can sue. So you can't say that she can't sue, and here's why. I say it's defamation and slander. Some people are like, no, not defaming her. It ain't hurt her pockets. All Ashanti got to do is go before court and say, this man has been harassing and bullying me for the past 20 some odd fucking years. It's not the first time Irv Gotti does that. Ashanti herself said he's been talking and I've been quiet. And we know that. Ashanti been pretty much scandal free. You know what I'm saying? Just this pretty girl, and then who grew into this pretty lady, still doing her shows, still minding her business. She's out the way. Y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never heard of Ashanti being attached to anything despicable except for Murder, Inc. She could easily go before a judge and be like, this motherfucker's been harassing me from podcast to interview to show to interview, calling me the bitches and the unloyal, disloyal, cockroaches. This is bringing me stress, which I'm sure it is. I'm sure every time she gets a text I'm sure every time she comes across a story, I'm sure it's causing her some sort of stress that could possibly make her not want to perform anymore, which is fucking with her money. You get where I'm going here? If I was her, I'd sue the fucking bricks off of him in that new $300 million deal he got. Because enough is the fuck enough. And motherfuckers will bully until they get bullied. And we've learned that in these spaces. Motherfuckers will bully till you start bullying. Then they want to wave white flags. Like, oh, it wasn't that serious. Really, though? So how many times does Ashanti have to hear that she's all kind of bitches and disloyal and she ran like a cockroach? And when the feds came knocking, she left and you made her. And had it not been for you, she'd be a studio rat. And I fucked her. And the reason why she wrote good songs was because right after I fucked her, specifically the song Happy, after we fucked, she wrote that song. Like, how much longer does she have to hear that and still continue, right, to do her career and her thing successfully? If I was her, I'd sue the fucking fat bricks off his big, flat, square ass. That's what I would do to Mr. Gotti, right? She's better than me. She's better than me. What do you think? Because I know a lot of people are like, she can't sue. She don't have it. No, she can sue. She can sue. You guys are forgetting that a lot of you are speaking from a world, respectfully, mi gente, but a lot of you are speaking from a lens of not being in certain tax brackets, right? And when we get into certain situations, what do? We let it go. We let it go. We're usually working regular jobs. We don't have time to take from our jobs and still have a really nice, decent, income or nest egg where we could fuck around with lawsuits, right? But in that space, it's different. Google how many celebrities have sued for defamation and slander. There are many. They have the time and they can afford the attorneys. So you can't say, Ashanti, oh, it's not worth it for her to sue him. It ain't worth it. She has the network, she has the connections, she has the time, and she has the money to hire an attorney. So maybe you can't do it. And maybe it's not worth it for you. But in that tax bracket, when you can afford an attorney and the time, it's very much worth it. It's very much worth it to not have some fucking derelict, degenerate dragging your name for years and years and years. It's very much worth it. If I was her, I would do it. She can do it. Cardi B and Tasha K. Have Cardi B been just some local underground rapper in the Bronx? People would say it's not worth it. It's not worth you to sue this Tasha K person who has 1 million subscribers. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, Cardi. You're an underground rapper. No one really knows you like that. But Cardi B, the superstar. Cardi B, the superstar. With the Puma deals and the Pepsi deals on the cover of Vogue. She got the time and the fucking money. You see how that works? Cardi B back in the Bronx, not so much, not worth the time. You don't have the notoriety, you don't have the money. Cardi B, the superstar, a whole different situation, isn't it? Do you see how money works? So please miss me with the Ashanti can't sue him. Miss me with that. She can sue and she can win, in my opinion. But she could definitely sue. The motherfucker's damn near harassing her on every fucking interview he goes on. I'd sue his big, fat, fat ass into oblivion. I would do it. I would do it. Because sometimes you have to give people time. Sometimes you have to give them their time because bullies, what they're hoping is that you don't have the time and they can run rapid with your name and, talking down about you and stuff. They're hoping you don't have the time. So sometimes you got to make the time. I would make the time. I'm just saying. Make the fucking time. Sue! Fucking sue. And if you notice, when you do Google celebrities that have sued for defamation and slander, the majority of them are white. Okay? A white motherfucker will have you in court spinning your head so fast. Spinning your head so fast. Ashanti should sue. I'd sue his ass. Oh, I'd sue him. For sure. Without a doubt. Hands down. Sue his ass. So he got it. He just signed a $300 million deal. He got it. He got it. And you best believe whatever attorney she hires, oh, they're going to be out for blood knowing how much he's worth. That attorney's going to work his fingers to the bone to get that money. So in my opinion, she got a hell of a shot. She got a good shot. So can you be high value with low value traits? Can you? Can you? By the way, if you don't like the super chat, hit me on the Cash app. It is scrolling on the bottom. Before anybody asks me, can you be rich, successful, and dusty? I know that I think it was where's my guy? Hold on. Where's my this guy? When he's not trolling, he's pretty cool. Trevor Jackson TV had asked me what is a dusty in the comments. Can you be rich, successful, and dusty? Yes, the fuck you can be rich, successful, and dusty. In my opinion, a dusty is the epitome, Irv Gotti is the epitome of a dusty to me. He just has money. We're used to the dusties online. We used to the dusties on social media. We used to the dusties that, treat women like crap, talk about women like crap, living off their parents, ratting out their friends, motherfuckers who can't afford a lineup, motherfuckers who smoking weed all day, and drinking with their kids in the background, dusties, motherfuckers with a bunch of baby mamas, they don't have a fucking pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. We used to those dusties online, them dusties that aren't attractive, but always talking about why women don't find them attractive. We used to those type of dusties, right? We used to type of dusties that never take off their fucking hats because their hairline is back here, right? We used to the dusties who have a belt buckle and it leaves an imprint on their fucking guts because they don't work out, but they still feel the need to talk about women all the fucking time, right? What's wrong with women? Not what's wrong with them, but what's wrong with women. We're used to those dusties, right? That's a dusty to me. That's a fucking dusty to me. I liked it back in the day when the dusties used to hang out on the corner with each other. Unfortunately for a lot of us, now the dusties got webcams. Welcome to YouTube, right? And all the dusties are now online. I personally liked it when I used to work corporate America and I, little girl in New York City, in the Bronx specifically. I worked corporate America. I used to go to work 8 o'clock in the morning. The dusties were on the corner. They didn't bother me. I didn't bother them, right? I used to get home around 5:30, 6 o'clock. The dusties were still on the corner. They didn't bother me. I didn't bother them, right? But unfortunately for us, now all the fucking dusties got webcams. And now we got to hear what these motherfuckers think and say. And we got to hear about their sexual conquest and who their baby mamas are. Now we got to hear all this shit, right? On a fucking hamster wheel. We got to hear it all fucking day. My baby mama ain't shit. See my baby mama right there. Man, she don't let me see the kids. And I don't got, now we got to hear the shit all motherfucking day. You know what I'm saying? And these bitches, now we got to hear the corner motherfuckers all fucking day. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks. But it's all good. We all getting paper here, so it's all good. But I'm just saying, the dusties are now being broadcast. So, Trevor Jackson TV, if I got to tell you what a dusty is, diantre, chach, you should know what a dusty is. That's a fucking dusty. I resent that remark, Lucky Guy 187. He says, I know you bully your boyfriends. I don't. Don't ask none of them, though. All right, guys. I love you, man. Thank you for fucking rocking with me and letting me get this off my chest, because I promise you, I was not going to talk about this Irv Gotti shit, but I'm like, damn, people still talking about it? Let me throw my fucking 2 cents in. Let me tell y'all what I see, okay? What I saw, right? which is hilarious to me because I've been, you know what I'm saying? You know, my travels, I've met men who had a lot of money, had no money, had kind of money, sort of money. You know what I mean? I've met people in different circles, things like that. You know, probably like a lot of you have as well. So I've gotten to see, you know what I mean, men from all walks of life, how they walk, how they talk, how they interact with each other, right? So you know, it's there's a difference between guys who think they have money because they live in the worst of the worst neighborhoods, right? Like if you live in a really, and I saw this growing up back in the 90s, right? When everybody was out on the street and pulling up in the Lexus, right? You know, they usually would come flex on, you know, motherfuckers in the neighborhood that didn't have shit, right? And in their minds, those motherfuckers was rich. They was like, shit, let me spin the block. And we know those guys that used to play the fucking loud music and spin the block 4 or 5 times and then park, and like 10 of their boys used to get out the cars too. That shit was dope. It was like, pull up, right? But you know, if that dude was to pull up in Calabasas, they'd call the police, right? Because they'd be like, some fucking thug, a degenerate, is in my very well manicured neighborhood, and how did he get beyond the gate? Get the police here immediately. I need the fucking LAPD up here right now, right? Right? So I am not talking about you guys that used to spin the block in the Lexus. I'm talking about wealth. There's a difference. And it's okay that there's a difference. Do not misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you have to be rich. You don't have to be. I know a lot of decent people who are not wealthy and rich. And I know a lot of assholes that are wealthy and rich. And I know both, you know, vice versa. But a lot of cats in today's society, especially in our communities, they think they're wealthy. They got some little dusty Rolex, and you always see them with the same fucking dusty Rolex and never switch it up. They never switch up their Rolex with a new Rolex to match their new outfit. I'm not talking to y'all. Not talking to y'all. So sometimes, because our lens is limited, our lens is fucking limited, we think everything that we hear and see, right, makes sense through that lens, and it does not. Okay? All right. I am dropping the link. Come on up here. Let me know if I'm wrong. Okay? Like I say, I don't know everything, but I know what I know. Come up here. Let me know if I'm wrong, and we'll see if you can survive it. Come on up here. Let me know how I'm wrong, and we'll see if you can walk away unscathed. I dropped the link. Y'all could come up. That is my view on fucking Irv Gotti, who's not really a Gotti and not really Italian, but whatever. We went over that. That's my point of view. So if you guys want to come up and discuss this, feel free, okay? I see Big Truck backstage. If no one else comes to challenge me or him or I, then it's just going to be us. All right, guys, so let me let Big Truck up. Any questions you may have as well, feel free. I'm going to try my best to look in the chat while I talk to the gentleman, but I may miss a good question. If it's a really, really good question you want to hear, throw it in the super chat, because I'm not going to be scrolling all night, okay? You guys know I try to do at least 2 hours. So unless y'all arguing amongst yourselves. Also, my ladies and gentlemen who have wrenches in the chat, make sure you kick the assholes through the uprights. I do not care. Kick them right through the block uprights. All right, so I'm going to let the gentleman up. Lucky Guy said if he comes up, he's getting banned. Why are you scared, Lucky? Come up. This is scared. All right, guys. What's up, Big Truck?
Good evening.
Good evening. What's up, Habron?
What's going on?
It's good. Everything.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Awesome. So,
let's hear it.
On your question about can you be rich, successful, and dusty, I had heard a long time ago, somebody said the ghetto is not a place, it's a state of mind. You got some people, just because you got a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean you're successful. And just because you got a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean that you're not dusty. So, yeah, you could definitely be You can have a lot of cash money, you can have a lot in the bank, but you can still be a dusty, unsuccessful person. That's just a reality. It's funny. I went to what was it called, Urban Dictionary, to look up the definition of dusty. They basically said it's like a dude who's not good for anything but sex, and typically a player. The Urban Dictionary actually said that because I wanted to be sure I knew what the definition was.
Okay.
And as far as high value men, in order to be a high value man, you got to, not only do you have to make the money, like the 6-figure income, but on top of that, you have to have a network of other high value men. And on top of that, you have to be a utility to people. Like, you can't be one of these people who's just hiding out in a basement somewhere playing PlayStation, even no matter how much money you got. It's like people know who you are. You have a public profile, whether it's LinkedIn, you have an internet presence, and people know you. People know that you're part of a network, and you have the money coming in. And it's like a combination of stuff that goes into it. So yeah, that's just the answer to your question right there.
0 fucks. This is for you, 0 fucks. Here, is that better? Is that better for you, 0 fucks? I love what you said, Big Truck, because they would call, right? People like Kevin Samuels and some other cats high value. And I have my own little definition. No one has to agree, but I always feel similarly to what you said. A high value man is of high value to his family, to his community, right? Not just himself, not just a guy who wears nice suits and a Rolex every now and then. You have to be of value. And I love that you added, he also has to have a high value network. How are you the only guy spinning the block in the Lexus? What does that mean? It just means that you have more money than the guy who lives in the projects, but you're spinning the same block. So I agree with you. What of your network? Who do you hang with?
Well, first of all, I'd like to point out that I was using Kevin Samuel's definition himself. Like, that's his. He actually came on and he defined it because there were so many dudes that were getting pissed off because they didn't fit into his definition. And he had to define it because there were so many dudes who were claiming that they were high value, but they really aren't. Because the thing about it is, to be high value, it's not that easy to be high value. Like, you damn near have to be a governor or mayor. You have to be something like you basically have to be a public rich person, And a lot of these dudes, just by the income alone, they didn't qualify. Then when you start getting into the nitty gritty of do you have other high value men as a network, a lot of them couldn't say yes to that. And then, so my thing is, women have been using this term because, they specifically want a dude who makes a certain amount of money, works a certain type of job, offers them a certain type of lifestyle. But when you actually get into it with men and talk about whether or not, they're high value or not, most of them want to believe they are, but they're not. And then those that actually are really not even present for the conversation because they got other things to do, like running the city or whatever it is, So, that's just where it is. But this is his definition.
So when you say
high value
governor or something, that's your definition or his?
No. That's part of Kevin Samuel's definition. Not necessarily that you have to be governor. It's just that you have a high public profile job, a network of high value men. You're making the salary 6 figures, and you've been doing so for more than 3 years, he said. It's like he actually posted it, and I think I saved it. Like, I'll pull it up if I can. I'll let Karan talk for a second. Because I actually saved it. I saved the photo.
Haran, what say you, sir?
I just want to make some things clear so we understand. A lot of times people, they just have a very skewed understanding of wealth and riches. And to be clear, wealth isn't necessarily money per se. I mean, of course, you have to be rich in order to get there, but it isn't necessarily money per se. It's not even quantifiable on certain levels. It's really, the wealthy really have access. Okay, when you're wealthy, you have access. You have access to a lot of things that a lot of people in a lot of tax brackets A lot of people in a lot of social groups do not have. Wealth is privilege. And on a lot of levels, people who are wealthy, they tend to not lose their position, their economic position, because a lot of people around them have a vested interest in their survival. So, when you reach that certain level, a lot of times you become too big to fail. Mark Zuckerberg is an example of that. He'll never go broke. You know what I mean? Bill Gates, he'll never go broke. These people will never go broke. You know what I mean? MC Hammer did. Mike Tyson did. They were rich. You know, these are the differences, and also a lot of that comes with a lot of cultural traditions, being handed down, and people being taught how to handle their riches, people being taught the game, people basically being handed down, levels of privilege. A lot of times, our people of color, blacks, whomsoever, a lot of times we're not privy to that kind of information. So when we get our hands on a massive amount of wealth, excuse me, riches, we really don't know how to really maneuver per se. Essentially what I'm saying is that there's a difference between nouveau riche and old money. So I think a lot of people need to understand that. Now, in terms of what you're saying, yes, of course, yes, you can be a rich dusty, but my big issue is that in our community, toxicity is excused as long as a person is rich. Like, I think Kanye West is full of shit. I've always felt that he was full of shit. However, he's allowed to pass because of his abilities, and he's rich, and then people turn around and become hypocritical and believe that morality is for the poor, or morality is for those who are not rich. No, morality is not. It should not be relative to your income bracket. Okay, morality should be morality if you are the moral person that you say you are. Now, if morality is malleable for you, then you're not a moral person.
Mm-hmm.
You're pretty much much less, much more rather a mercenary, and you go where the wind blows. But I'm just be quiet for a second.
Yeah. I love that morality is for the poor, because it's like I said earlier in my little rant, is like, long as you have fame and money or one or the other, you get passes. And I mean, anything goes, anything. The most despicable thing is like, you got money though.
I'm about to
No, wait
share.
1 second. Wait 1 second, truck. I just want to say something to Sundown. No, Mike Tyson didn't get it back. No, Mike Tyson got some money back, but he didn't get it back. Mike Tyson was worth upwards of $300 million back in the '80s. Now, if you want to equate that to now, that's pretty much close to $1 billion. He didn't get back $1 billion. No, he got a couple of millions back, but no, Sundown, Mike Tyson didn't get that back. He lost $300 million cash.
Yeah, well, Mike Tyson lost his high value status the moment he went to jail. Unfortunately, like he's still a celebrity. Right. He's still a celebrity. He's still acting. He's still out there in the public eye. Problem is, he's not a high value man no more. He's just not.
What are you sharing there, Big Truck?
So that screen that I'm sharing is the definite. Well, that was the Kevin Samuel. Hold on, I don't know why I'm losing. Hold on 1 second. I don't know why I'm losing my screen. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I gotta find you again. Oh shit, where did he go? Give me one second.
We can see it fine on this end. I can see it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you're looking at it. So. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, what is a high value man? Money. He earns a minimum of $10,000 a month. So you're talking about at least what is that? $120,000 a year. Length. Earn that money for about 3 to 5 years. Group acceptance. He's known by other high value men. Network. has a network of other high value men, visibility, position, income, LinkedIn. Basically, what he's saying is everybody knows who you are. So a high value man could be the president, governor, mayor. Some of these entertainers, the thing about it, some of these entertainers, like rappers and stuff, Samuels was himself trying to strike some of these dudes out because some of these dudes, have negative personas and this, that, and other. But the last thing is, as you can see, utility. He's relied upon and useful to the group. So those are the main aspects.
So the bottom there says not high value, successful solely from these careers, athletes, and I'm sure it went on to say other things. I just see where it says athletes. So we automatically, right, equate high value to tax bracket, right? So you're saying someone like maybe, I don't know, is Drake high value?
Drake is Drake is high value. Yes.
Is Future high value?
Well, the problem with him is the lack of dick discipline, I would say. Him and Nick Cannon.
Okay, so would Diddy be high value? He has dick discipline.
None. Okay, then the answer is no.
Interesting.
And then the question is, again, that's the real issue, because the thing about it is you're a utility to the group, and as a utility to the group, you can't be out there just having illegitimate children left and right.
Well, he has many.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Yeah, that having illegitimate children left and right, that doesn't work out too well. I mean, how long are you going to keep your money if child support is snatching it away from you? How long are you going to keep that money?
Right.
Yeah, I found the screen, so I'm back with you. I see it. So the thing about it is, it says not high value, successful solely from these careers, athletes, lotto winners, social media influencers, and entertainers.
Okay.
Yeah, those are not high value. And this is all Kevin Samuels. He posted this. Okay. So he typed this shit up. So I'm using his definition.
So it's interesting that is what he typed up or posted or whatever. Yet I hear a lot of his followers, right, his little sons, his social media sons, talking about their high value, specifically the catfish looking dude. I told you about that.
Who are you talking about? I don't even know who he's.
I don't know his damn name. These guys.
More description.
More description?
Yeah.
He wears a button-up shirt all the way up to here, to the last button. They're usually short sleeve. They're usually plaid. He has a wood bureau, literally a wood bureau behind him in the distance with a bunch of PlayStation shit. He has like a goatee. He's very light skinned, and his face is shaped like a catfish. He has a.
I think his hair is red. I think his hair looked red. If I recall.
Yes, it's not black hair. It's like a light color.
I don't know who she's talking about.
Yes. Like all his content is responding to Kendra G, but he is Kevin Samuels aficionado. He's like, it's all about Kevin Samuels, and he's gonna lead the charge. And Kevin Samuels' words and mission and business is not gonna die long as he's alive. He's one of those type of cats. But those type of cats will consider themselves high value. And I'm like, you are not, sir. You are not.
And keep in mind, you got it coming from two different places. Kevin Samuels put up his own definition, but the average woman, as far as she's concerned, as long as he's buying her everything she wants, as far as she's concerned, he's high value. As long as he's got his house, and so it's two competing ideologies here. But I'm just pulling up what he said.
All right. No, thank you for that. And here's the thing. Apparently, high value has become something that's relative, right?
Well, it always will be, yeah.
Yeah, I have my opinion on it. Kevin Samuels had his. Don Levon just said he knows high value bankers. So I guess, Rochelle says high value men don't profess being high value. Do high value men run around saying they're high value?
No, but see, that's the whole point. You don't have to. Like, it's like that quote in Game of Thrones. No man who must say I'm the king is a true king. Right. Everybody should know that you're the king when you walk in.
Hello. I love Game of Thrones. Yep.
And that's just what it is. You don't have to tell people you're rich. They know it when you pull up in that car. Or they know it when they see your office. Or they know it when they see all the people who they know are rich chasing you around trying to, work with you or something. You don't have to say it. That's the whole point.
Right. What seems to me like Kevin Samuels had a definition for it that a lot of his followers didn't even qualify for. So that's very, very, very interesting.
Well, one thing you got to understand about Kevin Samuels is that, first of all, I don't know how much of his show you watched or whatever, but the reality is he had women that would qualify as low-value women calling him up, and he was dangling marriage on a carrot stick, and he was trying to basically tell him, it's like, listen, you don't qualify for high-value men. And that he was basically saying that a man who's on this level right here isn't going for you and your child by some other guy. So when you're dangling, and I always thought that, I always equated Kevin Samuels with like an air traffic controller who's giving directions to airplanes after they've already crashed. It's like you're talking to people who have no chance at all of getting what you're professing that they, shouldn't be aspiring to get, but they're calling in because they want to get dragged on national YouTube television, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And see, what killed me was the women just kept calling in. Now you're complaining about the Dusties. You're complaining about Dusties who have these YouTube channels, and that's all they do is talk about these women and complain about these women. The reality is they got that from him because they saw him blow up with it. But from what I saw, they never understood why it is that he blew up with it. They couldn't understand it. And they never really fully emulated it. And that's the reason why they never went anywhere,
So super chat break. And then I got a question for you on that subject, Big Truck. Thank you, Necessary Evil. My ladies always come through with the super chats. Thank you so much. She says they can't hide their Dusty with money because it's their character. I think that's the case with Irv Gotti. He cannot hide it because that is true blue who he is. Whether he was broke or wealthy, still a Dusty.
I have to say something on that. The issue that I really, really have, and I told you about this, Jen, is that a lot of dudes just can't be gentlemen anymore. A lot of dudes just can't be gentlemen anymore. Like if Nori had asked him the question about Ashanti, he alluded to it or whatever. What is the problem with just saying, hey, it was what it was, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. I wish her the best of luck and success, yada yada, and move on. Like, how hard is that? And I've seen it happen with so many men on broadcasts, in person when I'm speaking with them. What is wrong with you just saying, look, it is what it is, whatever. I wish this woman luck. I'm ready to move on from this. I'm not going to sit here and drag anymore. It's just uncouth and it's just classless. And one thing about our people that I just don't like is that we like to live a high class life and behave classlessly with no class, rather. And it's just a very poor mix.
Well, Haran, unfortunately, the vast majority, I'll say probably 95% of the community hasn't gone to finishing school, boarding school. They have no idea how to emulate upper class society, besides what they may see on television or movies. Besides that, they have no idea how to even emulate it. They know how to get money. They know how to spend money on expensive things. But when it comes to just conducting yourself like a lady or conducting yourself like a gentleman. And keep in mind, Kevin Samuels brought that up. He on the High Value Man show, he talked about how men had to be trained in pugilism and how men had to know gentleman refinement skills and stuff like that. Yeah. How many of these dudes do you know have any level of finishing school. How many of these women do you know? None of that. None of them. I can't tell you a single one. Now, I know that there's a finishing school out there, and I know I've heard that some women have gone to it, but I don't know anybody. So what I learned about being a gentleman, I only learned from socialism of television back in the 80s. And that was it. Now you don't see that anymore. You really don't. You don't see those things anymore. You can't. Kevin Samuels, he got a lot of flack from these dudes because he was telling them that they should be wearing suits. And they were fighting him on that. Now, my job.
Before super chat break. Thank you, Afro Universe, for the super chat. So, Big Truck, I think you already answered the question I was going to pose, which was when you said, these guys are trying to emulate Kevin Samuels, but they'll never be like him or successful like him. I was going to ask why, but I think you just answered it. They're just not refined. They have no couth. They have no swag. So I think that's really,
and keep in mind,
when the key is just bashing women.
And when Kevin Samuels did show you his refinement and whatnot, they just called him gay. So you can't win. You can't win. And had he been married and still had he continued to be married and not divorced, they would have just called him a simp. So you can't win. You like, no matter what you do, you can't win. And that's part of the problem, because you always got a critic. And now with YouTube, you've got critics that literally make content strategy based on criticizing what you're doing. You can't win.
No, you can't. That's why I say what the fuck I said, and then you guys can sort it out. All the people that watch me.
That's the only way you can deal with it. That's the only way you can deal with it. You just do what you like. It's like even talking to you like on the channel right now. There's dudes who would call you a sim, call you a trick, and this, that, and all the bullshit. But listen, at the end of the day, when I'm relaxing on a beach in Bora Bora after I fly some first class trip, I'm not even thinking. You don't even exist. So it's like I don't feel like I don't even think I should waste the energy fighting with you. I wear suits every day. Some of these dudes, you can't even get them to just wear a suit. Like, you can't get them to wear a suit to a goddamn job interview. Like that, I just think that's crazy.
Or court.
And I work here in New York, Wall Street. We're doing real estate. We're doing investments. You can't come into my office unless you even dressed a certain way. And then, that's oppressive. That's the European beauty standard and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Who are you getting this shit from?
Well,
it's funny. I go through that with women as well. Like women that are constantly bashing me. I'm like, honey, you couldn't even sit where I sit. Like, stop it.
Exactly.
Stop it. I'm not going to think about you when I calm down. You could go do your 6-7 hour stream about me. I'm not going to be thinking about you. I'm going to be
the problem is that a lot of people don't understand. There are certain things called barriers, barriers to entry. This is a real thing. You can't get, again, access. You don't have access to certain things because you don't know how to behave a certain way. You are not of a certain tax bracket. You do not know how to dress, eloquently. You don't even know how to tie a fucking tie. You don't know how to, you've never heard the concept of how to even close your plate. You cannot go into this room because you do not have the necessary skill set in order to behave and move in that area. But I tell you this is another one of the reasons where money means nothing, because you can have these people who internally, do not address these issues before they amass a certain degree of money or a certain degree of wealth. And once they get it, they still are uncomfortable in these spaces. They do not know how to actually, have a relationship with someone who is of upper value. And they go back to wherever they came from. They go get a gutter rat, because deep down, there's still a gutter rat. There's still a gutter rat with money. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, we need to understand that yes, you can be a high value man, but that what really begins, how that begins, is your mentality, is your internal core. What are your principles? Because you have to have a degree of principles, and you have to have an internal core, a strong internal core and moral code in order to obtain all of the things that you need to obtain in order to be seen as a linchpin amongst your group of men that you deal with.
Right. Let me I want to address really quickly before we welcome Sundown. Something that you said about it doesn't matter how much money you have, you go back and get the gutter rat. Not anybody that knows me knows I love some Rihanna. Knows I love some Rihanna. But I gotta say, baby girl, you are worth $1 billion. You've been around the world 10 times. ASAP Rocky from Harlem. What? Why? You've been around the world a couple times. You're worth $1 billion. ASAP Rocky is the baby daddy. Damn. But anyway, I digress. I will welcome Sundown to the panel. What say you?
Hey, what's going on?
What is going on?
I want to give a shout out to my girl Morena. She's the one that put me on this channel, so I want to give her a shout out. So shout out to your moderator.
Thank you so much, Morena Reyes. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because I'm speaking to Avatar. Are you black? Are you white? What's your age bracket?
Mixed.
You're mixed with?
So my dad is Native American, and my mom is black.
Oh, okay, cool. How old are you?
So I'm 37.
Okay, you're 37. So I don't know how much of the show you've been watching, but what say you?
So I don't know if any of the guys had touched on this. I know that they talked for a bit. Money. I know a lot of people, when they talk about being high value, they talk about what a person earns, how much a person makes, what their net worth is. But I think it's a lot more that goes with it, because you'll see a lot of people with money do some really, really dirty things. They either will throw other people under the bus to keep that money. They'll try to consolidate it, and they'll eliminate the competition they won't put other people on. And there's a lot of things that a person can have that would make them high value without necessarily having to make a lot of money. So a person's character, their willingness to map out, say what it is that they want to achieve, if they're willing to sit down and plan out what they're trying to get and put forth an effort to get there, constantly making themselves better, even if they don't have the best job in the world, just trying to elevate themselves and elevate the people around them. Those are traits that would make a person high value as well. Not necessarily they have to make six figures, because there's a lot of people that make six figures and aren't worth shit.
Okay, well, I agree with that. That's actually part of my definition of high value. But a lot of people think I'm crazy because they're like, no, high value has to at least be earning six figures. I disagree. I think there are people that work in the community, in disenfranchised communities, that are a hell of a lot more valuable to other human beings than some rich guy sitting in an ivory tower that doesn't give a damn about anybody. So I'm with you. I just wanted you to elaborate, because a lot of people would disagree. A lot of people be like, no, you got to have that. You have to have that cheddar to be high value. Thank you, Big Elvis, the Chef Rosenberg, for the super chat. How are you, sir? So,
but you also have to look at it like this. Look at athletes. Look at entertainers. Yeah, they might have been broke, but then they come into money, and that money, what do they say? When people have money, it doesn't change them. It just brings out the traits that they had. Now they have the money to go and mingle with these people, but they're still the same people. They don't try to change themselves. They don't take, say, a person, let's say a rapper, for instance, can't really articulate himself that well, but let's say he tries to go to speech classes to learn how to talk properly, learns to get financial literacy, does things to better himself. You don't really see that. A lot of times you see a lot of rappers that come into money and then they blow it just as fast as they make it.
Did you see the high value chart rundown that I put up a little while ago, or did you come in and didn't see it?
I didn't see it.
All right, I'll put it back. I'll share it back up for you. Because the thing about it is, rappers, in most cases, even Kevin Samuels, he was like, yeah, rappers aren't high value. And then when you really think about it, a lot of these dudes, they're spending their days dodging bullets. How high value are you if you can get killed for the fucking money that you got? just because of some beef or something. You know, it's like I think about Biggie Smalls and Tupac. I've made more money staying alive than they'll ever count because they both died before they were 30. Think about that for a second. Young Dolph was driving around. He got all that ice on, this, that, and other. They shot up his fucking car. So the thing about it is, how high value are you if there's literally a target on your back? That's not high value. Now, what he's saying, what Kevin Samuels says is like, if you're successful solely from the career, that doesn't make you high value. Now, somebody like LeBron James is inarguably high value. But it's not just his career. The dude's got a clothing line. He's got a business. He's got this, that, and other. He's got it all. But if you're just one of these mumble rappers and somebody's trying to shoot up your Maserati, it's like, that's not high value. I'm sorry, it's just not.
So it reminds me of Pop Smoke too, the way Pop Smoke died.
Pop Smoke, if I'm not mistaken, Pop Smoke died here, not far away from. He died on the corner, I believe, of Queens Boulevard and Briarwood, and he was in. I forget. I think he had a Maserati, if I'm not mistaken. And they shot his car.
He was in. Pop Smoke was in Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills. Okay, so I'm thinking of a different. I think I'm thinking of.
There's so many.
Yeah, exactly. That's like every single week, it's another rapper gets shot up. Like, okay, you know what? You're right. I'm thinking of Stack Bundles. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Stack Bundles. Okay. There's so many you can't even keep track of this shit. It's like, oh well, Young Dolph was shot here, and what's the other guy? What was that guy's name? Nipsey Hussle. He shot somewhere else. It's like I can't remember all this shit.
And Boozy was just at a funeral too of another rapper, and I didn't even hear about him getting shot, but apparently it was recent. But yeah, Pop Smoke was posting on his Instagram all the shopping, his shopping bags, and one of the shopping bags had his address at the Airbnb. So then that's how they found him, and then ran up on him and killed him for his jewelry and whatever and what have you. But someone would say, hey, he was worth such and such amount of money. That's high value. As far as this screenshot here, Kevin Samuels' definition of high value, he's still talking about money, though.
Well, and he's talking about money, group specific. See, the problem is you can have a lot of money, but if you're just in somebody's basement somewhere, just chilling while you're stacking up money, that doesn't make you high value because you're not helping your community. You're not of value to your group. So in order to be high value, you have to be a utility. And that's the part that a lot of people just don't get. You have to be a utility. Like, for instance, if you took money out of it completely, and let's say we go to tribalism or something, the chief or possibly the war leader, he's the high value man because he is the person making sure that the group is safe or whatever it is. So even if you take the cash out of it, it's about utility. It's really more about utility than it is about the money. If you really think about it, it's just that we focus on the money because we're like, oh yeah, well you can't even afford to live here if you don't make $100,000. That's what it really comes down to.
Well, this pertains to what I was. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jen. This pertains to what I was saying prior a minute ago. This is why this begins with mindset. Period. Because in order to be useful, in order to be a utility, as Chuck coined, you have to understand the scope of the situation you're in. You have to understand the pockets that need to be filled. And if you have the skill set in order to fill those pockets, now if you do not have the skill set in order to fill those pockets, then you have to face the situation where you either A, go find the skill sets, build the skill set to fill the areas that you're in, or maybe you are just in the wrong space at that period in time in your life. Maybe you have absolutely nothing to offer, and actually you're just causing an uncomfortable situation for yourself and everyone else. So yes, this comes down to you understanding who you are. That's what high value is, period. You have to understand who you are, first of all, and if you actually do have the goods to actually create the situation. Because you can lose the money. Okay, you can lose the money, you can lose a number of these things. But if you have the mindset, you can get this stuff back to some degree. Might not be the same amount, but you can get this stuff back to some degree. It's all about understanding really, who you are and what you can actually contribute to whatever situation you're in. You have to understand how to be useful, man.
Yeah, can I piggyback off of that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I agree exactly with what you said. Like, it takes self-reflection. You have to be able to look in the mirror and look at your weak points and say, okay, I'm lacking here, I'm lacking here, I'm lacking here. I need to bring those up and be willing to put in the time and the effort to make those little weaknesses that you have better. And it's not even necessarily like I keep talking about the money thing, but you could be high value by taking care of your family, knowing that your family doesn't want for anything. You got kids, you take care of your kids. Even if you're, let's say you have a baby mama, you might not like the baby mama, but as long as you're taking care of those kids or your kid, I mean, that makes you high value to me.
Well, yeah, but I understand what you're saying, but it's not subjective.
Yeah.
Well, and like for instance, the Pope makes about $50,000 annually, and he gets a monthly salary around $4,208. Some people would say, yeah, he's a high value man. Here's the thing. He's not on the market, so he's not a high value man. Despite the fact he's a utility, it has nothing to do with the money. He's not even on the market, so he's not really a high value man. When they're talking about high value men, they're talking about men that are on the dating or the sexual market, and they are obviously a utility to the community, and they're highly visible in a position, and everybody basically knows who they are, regardless how much money they make. But they are a group leader, basically. But they're on the market. So technically, even the Pope wouldn't qualify.
So, Big Truck, aside from my opinion, Kevin Samuels, what do you say a high value man is?
Even if I ignored his or adjusting for salary, because you could go to a country where they don't make that much money, and $100,000 is something they only dream of. But you could still have high value men because, as I said, you just have a man who's a very important person within the group, and he's a utility to the group, known by everybody, highly visible. Computers and technology and money, you could throw that out the window, and you could still have high value men within your community. So it's not really subjective. Like I used to try to justify it that way and say, yeah, well, you could still be high value just because you're making over $100,000, and women might want to be with you just because of that. But that doesn't really make you high value unless you're actually a group leader and you're a utility. Even if I ignored part of Kevin Samuels' definition, I would just have to say, though, his definition is not really his definition. It's just that he imparted that information on his channel from what a high value man is, because he was basically talking from the standpoint of wealthier and upper class people. He was talking from that standpoint.
Yeah, that's what upper class people would consider somebody high value.
Right. So, that's just what it is. I mean, again, you could adjust for individual countries, nations, groups, civilizations. Like if you go to, if you go to South Africa, a high value man might not be the same thing it is here.
Super chat break. Thank you, Don Levon, for the super chat. Don Levon
said,
I'll
give you an example. So,
hold on, Sunda.
Wait 1 second.
My bad.
It's okay. Don Levon says, for me, being high value means that you are of value and of service to others. The more you are of value and service to others, the higher the status. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that one. I'm sticking with that one. I like that one.
Utility.
Right. That's how I feel about that, even though what Kevin Samuels said has been twisted and turned and ate and spit out.
But no. It was ignored. That's the issue. It was ignored. When he put that out, everybody was trying to sing and dance around it, but they ignored it. How many people, Like even the definition that I just pulled up, that he himself posted and referred to. How many people have you actually seen pull that up and refer to it? None. Like none, except me.
No, they just want people to know that black women ain't shit. That's that's all they want people to know. Forget the high value of what they gotta be. They just want to know women are the enemy, and they're gonna carry on for Kevin Samuels. I wanted to. There was something going back to Irv Gotti and Ashanti. I wanted you guys to touch on that because I know we're talking about the high value and the money and the bracket and blah blah blah. But specifically, you know, this idiot, what I would consider a rich idiot. What do you think about him handling Ashanti the way he has been for many, many years, and her not saying anything and crying about loyalty when this man couldn't even be loyal to his wife and his children? But as we know, most people crying about loyalty are not loyal themselves, right? What do you think about that whole situation?
What do I think about that whole situation?
Yeah.
So the way that I was brought up was men did certain things and men didn't do certain things. And one thing that I was always taught was you never discuss your disdain for somebody publicly, right? So like, let's say if she did something to him or he felt offended, he should have talked that out with her. I personally think that if a man has a problem with a female or a woman and he airs out all her dirty laundry for the world to see, like that's a feminine trait to me. Even if you are estranged to that person, even if you feel some type of way, you hit that person up behind the scenes and you say, you know, I felt that you did me wrong this way, and this way. You don't put it on the internet for the world to see because it backfired. Right now, people are looking at him like, yo, why are you like you're talking about a female that hadn't had a relationship with you or had any kind of like conversations with you in like 10 years. Now you're just coming out saying this. You sound like somebody that's old, bitter, and feminine. He should have handled it better behind the scenes. But drink champs, they're known for getting people drunk, and when people get drunk, they tend to drop their guard and their true self comes out. I think he should have handled it better. That's how I feel.
What do you think, Harai? The pillow talking.
It's a typical '90s dude, man. It's a typical, industry dude. You know, I mean, you and I have had discussions about guys like this. He's the kind of guy who clearly is still clinging to his glory days. He's still in love with his glory days, and he has not evolved. It is a sad sight when you see a man in his 50s. I believe he's in his 50s, right? When you see a man in his 50s behaving like the same person he was 20 or 30 years ago, that shows everyone that regardless of the trials that you have gone through, the experiences that you might have had, you learned nothing. You learned absolutely nothing, because people who actually, grow, they sound different at certain stages in their life. You're supposed to sound different at certain stages in your life. If you sound the same, if you sound exactly like the person you were when you were 21, there's a huge problem if you're in your 50s. Okay? And he needs to really let go of that. And I think that there's a part of him who the reason why he's clinging to it is that he's not admitted to himself that he was hurt by that. Maybe he was in love. Maybe it was a lot deeper than he's putting it out there, because he keeps trying to create this perception that she felt this and she felt that and she felt all this. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was you, because if she felt all that, she was in Nellie's bed real fast. You know what I mean? If this was the heartbroken woman that you said she was, She was really on to the next one real quick. So my thing is like this, like, and another thing
Nelly,
too,
Haran, it's Nelly.
and another thing too, it's like I hate to say it, but come on, dog. Like, look at you, man. You're lucky. These dudes are lucky. The industry is what it is, man. It provides them the opportunity to live the lives that they live. And another thing too, man. It's like, what did you do after you found out? Did you cry in your wife's arms? Like, did you go to your wife and get comfort? After you realize your mistress, quote unquote, cheated on you? Like, come on, man. It is what it is.
I mean, the audacity, like you were married, had like 3 kids, and you mad that this woman moved on with Nelly. You gotta listen. Anybody move on with Nelly, you gotta give them a pass for that. What do you think, Big Truck?
Well,
No talking PNZ.
No, well, basically, I would say that, he never actually got over her because, if you're going to rant about somebody for like 2 hours, like, obviously you didn't get over this person. And on that murdering, that 2005 laundering beef, is going to just say, yeah, she was out of there. He's basically saying, yeah, she betrayed me and she left me and this, that, and other. So I would just say that he's probably just mentally scarred, and he can't get over it,
He should have looked to his wife to be there for him, to ride for him. That's when he put the ring on.
Sometimes it's hard to know whether or not a lot of this shit that they've got, going, whether or not they're talking this beef in order to get hype or to build hype on the street, or if they're just saying this stuff because they're, genuinely upset. And, because right now it's like a lot of them ain't got really much to talk about. So it's like they're trying to generate, manufacture outrage, basically.
And he has a documentary coming up, a Murder Inc. documentary. So I guess he's using Ashanti.
Right.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, right. Isn't that always the way? Because you got to understand, these rappers, they're not making money like they used to make. The majority of this money that they're flashing, that's credit cards. These dudes are, when's the last time you downloaded them and paid them money for one of their songs? I can't tell you the last time I paid them for an album. These dudes ain't making no money. All of their music's being stolen on fucking iTunes and SoundCloud. These dudes are not making money anymore.
As long as that's YouTube, I ain't buying shit.
They're going deep into debt. These YouTube royalties are not paying that Rolls Royce. It's like, nah, it's tough times out here. So they generate some outrage, get you to view their documentary or get you to watch their stage performance, whatever it is. And that's what it is. It's always some beef that's coming out of thin air. It never fails. But these dudes, they ain't selling nothing no more. The 90s is over.
Yo, and on top of that,
Necessary Evil says a lot of men are scared to be used for money they don't have. That happens a lot on YouTube.
Nah, a lot of them, I bet they wish they didn't throw that $150,000, $200,000 in them strip clubs.
And there's that. Then there's that.
I'll never understand people who do shit like that. I will never understand them.
Allen Iverson was notorious for that.
I hope he's happy now. Now, let me ask this. The $1 million question, or maybe the 6-figure question. Do you think that Kevin Samuels was high value, though he had a lot of shit to say about high value? Was he high value?
Nah, I don't. Look, when I first saw the guy, he was on I think he was on this show called Roommates. I think he was. If I remember, I don't recall. I mean, I think so. I mean, but anyway, he was selling cologne. He was selling cologne, and he was trying to give guys. Oh, okay. He was trying to give guys advice on a number of things, and it was some pretty good advice, so on and so forth. But he, it was nothing really profound about him at that moment in time. But he kept going with his shtick with cologne and being an image consultant and so on and so forth. But after a while, I realized that this guy was just a hustler. Because the moment that he broke with that particular video, average at best, and he pivoted. And I saw everything coming to fruition. You know what I mean? I said, okay, yeah, this guy's a hustler. And look, man, I'm from New York. All right. I respect a good hustle. All right. I can respect a good hustle, man. It is what it is. New Yorkers respect a good hustle. You know what I mean? But we're gonna call a hustle what it is. You know what I mean? If we know you're full of shit, it is what it is. But if there's a paycheck at the end of it, hey, what I mean? It is what it is. But I will say this though. I will say this. He was entertaining. He did not strike me like when I saw the dude, I never said to myself like, yeah, this is the kind of guy who was probably getting it back in the days. Like, yeah, he was doing it with the chicks, blah blah blah. I never saw that. He never gave me that kind of energy. He was a particularly smart guy. He was funny in certain aspects. But what I say, did I look at him and say like, yeah, that's a high value man? Like, no, I didn't. He was a character. He was a character who played his role very well, and he got somewhat of a bag from it. Maybe he got a big bag. I don't know, but it was what it was. He did what he needed to do to get this money out here.
So not high value?
No, absolutely not. Like how? He technically speaking, he's pretty much an entertainer. Just like he said entertainers aren't high value. So technically he was an entertainer.
I never heard him actually refer to himself as high value. I personally didn't know him. I don't know what he did for a living. I don't know how much money he made. First of all, I know he was making money. We all know he was making easily a 6-figure salary for at least the 3 years that we knew of him on YouTube. But I didn't know him personally. I don't know where he worked. So the thing about it is, I can't say yes or no because I didn't know him enough. But and then his run was relatively short. It was artificially short. So I don't know. I'd have to put a question mark on that. It's like maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But what I do know is as far as YouTube was concerned, he was.
Good point. Didn't know what he was doing at said time of clock stop, right?
Yeah.
But as he was being exposed as time went on, when I started hearing twice divorced, backed up a child support, not paying the child support, daughter didn't get along with him, they had a lot of friction. I was like, you're not high value, sir. You're a charlatan and a hustler. But like Haran said, we're from New York. We don't knock hustles, but we will call them out. Hustles and hustles.
Yeah, fake it till you make it.
Right? Saludos, Bulldog Face 2.0, hermano, ¿cómo está? All right, guys. So I think we're gonna wrap on that. I think we covered all the bases, unless you want to leave any man watching with some sound advice. I'm done with the motherfuckers. I'm done tonight. So just overall, look, it hasn't been 2 hours exactly. We got about 5 minutes left. If any of you want to say anything regarding high value, low value traits, please feel free. The floor is yours.
I'll say this to hop off.
Oh, go ahead.
Nah, anybody that has to constantly say that there's something, they're not. That's just what I've learned over time. You have to constantly tell people that you're of a certain ilk. 9 times out of 10, you're not. And you're just saying that because that's an insecurity that you feel. And you feel more secure when other people look at you in that light. So you'll constantly say, I'm high value, I'm high value, I'm high value. A person's high value, like I've met people that were CEOs, doctors that were making good money, but they would never tell you that because they let that stuff speak for itself. They let their success speak for themselves, for itself. You don't have to constantly get on YouTube and always talk about this or always talk about how you do this, because it just brings more doubt, or it casts more doubt on your perception. People will look at you and be like, are you really that? If you have to constantly tell me that you're doing this or you're about that, you're probably not.
Yeah, and usually everybody else is talking about you. That's why you don't have to talk about you, because everybody else is like, yo, guess who just walked in, right?
There's a quote. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna hop off. Thank you for having me on, by the way. There's a quote. It's like the I think it was some mobster back in like the 30s, and he said, "We don't talk about what we do. We do what we do, and we let other people talk about it." So you constantly having to, like I said, portray yourself in this light, you're not doing it right. And that's going to cast doubt. If other people are talking about you, when they see you and they say, oh, that's such and such, that's such and such, then that's a good thing. But it's hard to believe when you're the only one that's saying it. And I don't really believe that Kevin Samuels was what he was saying. I mean, I could tell you 2 + 2 = 4. That doesn't make me a mathematician.
And on that note,
I'll just say one thing.
Sundown for joining us. Please come back.
I will. Sure.
I'll just say one quick thing.
Haran, you always got good advice for the men in the DMs.
Well, here's a gem. Here's a gem, hopefully, that some brothers can take. Your manhood and your self-worth should be based on how many people can count on you without a moment of doubt in their hearts. If people can think of you and think of a person that is solid, is courageous, a person who can be called on at any given time and a situation be taken care of without question, that is your currency. If they cannot do that, you have work to do. So forget about the forget about the concept of high value or whatever that is, so on and so forth. All these things are just words and concepts and all relative ideas. If the wolves are coming and people say, don't call that guy, that's where you stand.
I love that. I love that because I'm thinking of like people in my life that I call like, yo, this just went down. I need you to tell me. I was like, you're right. That's a great way to measure a high value man. Thank you for that. It was a gem. Big Truck, what you got before we get out of here?
Okay, yeah, good topic. I personally think that even a high value man can have a couple of imperfect traits and not a couple of low value traits, because nobody's 100% perfect. However, if as long as you're the utility and as long as you have the group acceptance and everything, I still think that you still can be a high value man or in some cases a high value woman. But I just want to point out, as far as Kevin Samuels, the mere fact that we're still talking about this guy months after the guy died, and the impact that he's had, even how should I say, the organization that he added to YouTube for people to try to copy and emulate. I mean, I'd have a hard time not saying that somebody like that is high value, even though I didn't really know him in person. So I'd still want to leave it a question mark. But as far as the rest of us basically, again, it's not that difficult to become a high value man. It's not that difficult for the men. The only thing about it is it's like they have to work on themselves to the point where they become a group utility and get that acceptance. And as long as they've got those things, they basically become a high value man. And supposedly that's what the women claim that they're looking for. So, again, and I agree with the last guy. Just like I said with that quote, you don't have to tell people that you're high value. They already know. They know the moment they meet you, they know that you're the high value, and they just know, because what you do speaks for itself. How you do it speaks for itself, and the people around you speak for themselves. So that's basically it. So enjoy your night. And what time is it there?
It is. I have to rebut what you said, though. See, I thought I was leaving, but I gotta say so. It's only 7 o'clock here.
Rebut what?
I do agree with you. I think that's a great point to leave with. You know, the man doesn't have to be perfect. His past does not have to be perfect in order for him to be high value now, presently. But I disagree with that we're still talking about him. So you're having a hard time calling him and not calling him high value. We still talk about Vanilla Ice when we talk about hip hop. It doesn't mean he was any good. Doesn't mean that he was a rapper. Doesn't mean that he added value to hip hop, but we still talk about him. The man still went platinum and platinum and platinum. I just think I like leaving it at your question mark because I didn't hear about Kevin Samuels doing any work in the community. I didn't hear about Kevin Samuels uplifting or helping anybody. I just heard Kevin Samuels, his daughter didn't get along with him. He was twice divorced. He was backed up on child support. Now, maybe in 5 or 10 years, would he have been somebody to give back to the community? We will never know. We know he died on some 2-bit, you know what I mean, thought, sweaty, with hypertension. That's all we know.
And let me just point out that I'm very glad that he died that way, because this way it completely dispelled the gay rumors. Because, like, you know, the thing about it is, had he died in there and he fallen on some guy and there'd been some guy in the bed or some shit, this would have never gone away. So I'm so glad he died. He fell on her, like, by her own testimony. He died with his head in the big, thick titties. So as far as I'm concerned, all that gay shit goes right out the window.
It does. And for the record, for my LGBTQIA plus family, doesn't matter if the man died and he was gay. Just for the record. Okay? It's okay to be gay. On that hilarious note, I shall bid all of you lovelies adieu. Thank you so much, gentlemen. You always, always, always add wonderful things to the panel. We don't always agree because we're not supposed to. Okay. What's up, Miss Polly? You here on late. All right, guys. So good night. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like and subscribe for Mama on the way out. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget OnTheBlockWithJen at Gmail if you have a subject for me that I may miss when I'm, you know, scrolling la redes. Or you want to talk to me in private, Gmail. Don't fucking flood my shit with bullshit, okay? Now, this isn't access to my life. OnTheBlockWithJen at Gmail is just if you want to talk to me in private. All right, guys, lovely ladies. Thank you so much for rocking the wrenches in the chat, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Hit that like and subscribe for me, mi gente. And let people know. I think that was really, really dope that Morena Reyes brought in Sundown. He was a great addition to the panel. So I appreciate that very, very much. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Let's see what I come up with next. All right, guys. Good night. Thank you for the super chats.